Ferrari are looking to enter the 2023 season on a strong note, as they understand that in order to beat Red Bull and Max Verstappen, you need to be one step ahead of them. That could have been done in the previous period, with the Maranello team revising a part that has been present in the sport for more than a decade. The rest of the grid has begun to question the legality of Ferrari's changes, but it appears that all Ferrari does in 2023 is find loopholes and assure themselves that they are thinking ahead of their competitors. In 2022, Ferrari's major issues, manifested in tactical gaffes and reliability issues, have hampered their legitimate chances of winning a championship for the first time since 2007. However, the team stopped developing the F175 very early in the season, understanding that Red Bull are in a league of their own and the next big chance will be given to them in the next season. Things have even gotten to the point where Ferrari is almost losing the P2 spot to a troublesome Mercedes, one that has gained a lot of pace in the second half of the season and is also looking forward to challenging Red Bull in 2023. But while the changes in Mercedes are very innovative and do hold the potential of being championship-deciding ones, the aerodynamic loophole that Ferrari found on the SF23 is truly a masterpiece. The teams are more than angry that they haven't been able to implement it in their own cars, so the only thing that can be done at this point from their side is to protest the legality of it to the FIA. But we all know that the team that comes first with it has a structural and pivotal advantage over their rivals, something that Red Bull and Mercedes know better than anyone else. The S-Duct was first used by Sauber in 2012, with the Swiss team attempting to reduce turbulent air from the car ahead and help the following car with better airflow. The concept has previously been used to do only this particular thing: minimize the loss of downforce when you follow a car up close, as it channels the dirty area into areas where it will have less of an aerodynamic impact. According to a report from Formula1A.Uno in Italy, a portal that is very close to Ferrari, the solution of the SF23 regarding the S-Duct has been a bit revised and changed, with the Maranello team actually implementing it into the side pods in such a way that the airflow that comes out can move towards the rear and beam wing, which could theoretically improve aerodynamic performance. Remember that this is something that is very often protested by other teams, with the front wing of Mercedes also being banned for the same reason back at the US and Mexico GPs, only for it to be allowed to be implemented a couple of weeks later. So, how does Ferrari's S-Duct look? An opening in the rear of the side pods is hugged closely into the center of the car, and it allows air to flow out of the back of the car in a particular way as a part of the design solution that Scuderia has come up with. This, however, has not been met with the same enthusiasm by Ferrari's competitors as would be expected for a relatively common occurrence so early in the season. Although Ferrari is confident that they have followed all of the technical regulations that are mandatory for all competitors, other teams are skeptical and have asked the FIA to investigate the legality of this part. What's even scarier is that Formula1A.Uno reports that Ferrari has pushed aerodynamic upgrades from 2022 for this season as soon as they realized that the 2022 challenger won't be able to compete for either championship. It is truly a genius design from the Maranello team, but how did they manage to find this particular loophole in the regulations? As Vasseur said, Ferrari will go on to strike and win 2 world titles because Maranello lacks nothing to be successful. So when this was displayed out there for the fans, Ferrari decided to strike with the technical aspects of the car and take the track without masking their updates. The front wing, which is now redesigned as the shorter nose, also asked for discussions about the 5 small carbon slots that link the last flap to the third element, with Maranello re-proposing the solution that the FIA had rejected for Mercedes back at the Mexican GP. But while the front wing solution has been fixed by the FIA, only changing one word in the 2023 regulation, and that's the word mainly, it's something that we can clearly see as an accepted and revised change. On the other hand, the S-Duct is now ingeniously connecting the open vertical slot at the root of the chassis, just below the mouth of the radiators, with a duct that vents the flow from a two-stage periscope that blows on the hollowed-out part of the side pod. Now, this periscope is exactly the part that has raised the most eyebrows among rivals, with many interpreting it as an additional cooling outlet, given the fact that the SF23 has smaller radiators compared to the F175. In reality, the narrow air vent can be observed on the sides of the cockpit, and it does not directly extract the heat from the side pods. Quite the contrary, with the cool flow that arrives from under the vents, it's possible to speed up the suction of the hot air from the gills, which allows better fluid dynamics inside the side pods, and therefore the slits can be smaller to the advantage of aerodynamic efficiency. But one thing here is very crucial for you to understand, and that's the name of the system as called by the Maranello technicians: a bypass duct. Inside the Ferrari racing department, everyone is bound to adopt this name as it's identified as an innovative solution that is destined to generate a lot of talk in the next few days. For example, the FIA has not yet expressed an opinion on the idea of Ferrari's staff because the legality checks have not been conducted yet, and there will be in-depth checks in Bahrain as they already started. Scuderia, however, didn't plan to hold back on their innovations when it comes to introducing the bypass duct, which now complies with the technical regulation, and since last year, it now requires certain compliance with volumes and not measures. Therefore, the certification of certain ideas is now more complicated if they do not have a CAD program. With that being said, what is next for Ferrari? Obviously, they've made moves that are considered steps forward compared to the competition in Mercedes and Red Bull, but do they have enough to win the championship in 2023? The potential is definitely there. The drivers are now more motivated than ever. And with a new front wing in the S-Duct, along with the pre-testing in Bahrain, one could only ask, where is the limit for the Scuderia? Another thing that is very interesting in the statement made by Frédéric Vasseur regarding the S-Duct of the SF23, and while in theory it boosts the aerodynamic performance, the Maranello team principal is confident that there won't be any underlying issues with the FIA. When talking about this matter, he added, "Well, as you may know, all the teams are in contact with the FIA. And we did exactly the same, and there is no issue at all. An interesting situation has developed for the SF23 in Bahrain, and that's the deformation of the nose on Sainz's car. As he was rushing through the track, a dimple appeared on the nose, and while many were quick to yet again question any kind of irregularities regarding the aerodynamic boost of the car, this is something that wasn't intended by Ferrari, and it was just a simple carbon dimple, as explained by the team. With Red Bull's reduced wind tunnel time and with Ferrari and Mercedes following up closely, there could be a proper three-team battle up front. Time will tell whether Ferrari has what it takes to beat Red Bull, because remember that the situation between Leclerc and his team isn't ideal, given that he's the main championship protagonist along Verstappen for this season. The fact that he has no idea whether Ferrari will be willing to commit to him beyond 2024, now that Sainz will prove himself as a tough nut to crack in 2023, with Vasseur giving both drivers an equal chance of competing in the same car, stands as it is. Nonetheless, Ferrari has shown that they definitely have what it takes in terms of finding loopholes and reading through the regulations carefully, as now we are more than eager to see what they have in store for the 2023 season. What is your honest opinion of the Maranello team? Do you think that they're definitely out for blood against Red Bull and Verstappen? Let us know in the comments below.